So we'll keep an eye on these guys and see where they go, because they're probably going to go to their nets, which are somewhere out here.
The crew of this ship is on a mission to try and save one of the most endangered sea creatures on the planet.
We now have our night vision drone set up. We're flying in close.
They're in the middle of a marine protected area in Mexico, a conservation zone where certain types of fishing are banned.
Two guys covering their faces. I'm pretty sure they're pulling a net.
Local fishermen are poaching a species of fish that is so highly prized in China, they can make tens of thousands of dollars in just one night.
Yep, net.
So we see a net on the top of the...
Oh, he's got a gun. He's got a gun.
And he has a gun.
Gun. We now know that these guys have guns. I think for the safety of the drone, I'm going to fly home now. We have the coordinates marked of where that net was. Tomorrow, we're going to pick up that net.
Even though this is a marine protected area, the illegal fishermen still will go out and poach. They will destroy this ecosystem, and we're here to try to stop them.
With ocean life under threat, could marine protected areas be the answer? Near the Mexican fishing town of San Felipe on the upper Gulf of California, conservation group Sea Shepherd is working with the authorities to help enforce a marine protected area, or MPA, a designated section of ocean to be conserved, managed and protected.
We found an illegal net. We will go and retrieve this net. Most of the damage caused for human activity is done by the coast, where the highest biodiversity can be found.
Maintaining rich, diverse ecosystems is key for the health of the ocean and ultimately the survival of humanity. But ocean life is under threat. From plants to microorganisms and animals, species are disappearing forever.
Marine protected areas are the best tool we have to protect and conserve biodiversity from the human impact. Can go close to the...
Marine biologist Patricia Gandolfo and the rest of the Sea Shepherd crew are here to stop poachers. Caught up in the nets of the criminal gangs and local fishermen is one particularly rare porpoise, the vaquita.
You cannot find vaquitas anywhere else in the world. There is estimated between 10 and 30 vaquitas left. It's so low that if we don't do anything, we will lose them forever.
Someone ready to grab the boat?
Worldwide, there are thousands of sea species currently threatened with extinction. Losing just one species from the food chain can have a disastrous effect on an entire ecosystem.
These kind of nets are forbidden. And we can find up to 13 nets in a day. When you find a net, first thought always is like, no animals in the net, and of course, no vaquita.
There's something tangled in the net.
All right, guys, get it out and keep pulling. So get it out. All right, get it to the bag. Keep pulling the net.
It's a dead totoaba, the endangered and highly valued fish the poachers are after.
So there's a clear example of how these nets can kill. So this fish can be worth up to $5,000 just for the fishermen.
After it's sold on, the totoaba's swim bladder can fetch up to $100,000 a kilo in China, where it's prized for its medicinal properties.
Hola, buenos días. Pues mira, hemos encontrado una red de totoaba.
The totoaba needs to be destroyed. Patricia calls in the Mexican Navy and the Environmental Agency, who are patrolling the area.
La red la procesamos y la metemos en bolsas para enviar. Es solo la totoaba. ¿Viene viva o está muerta? Está muerta.
Critics disapprove of Sea Shepherd's use of direct action tactics in some of their campaigns. But in the Gulf of California, their presence is welcomed by the Mexican government.
Sea Shepherd is working with the Mexican environmental agencies and the Navy, fighting against illegal fishing. But that is not going to be successful until the local communities agree to work with us and stop this illegal activity in the marine protected area.
Globally, the fishing industry employs 260 million people, but many more subsistence fishermen depend on the ocean for their income. Local fishermen here claim protecting the ocean has limited how they can fish, destroying their way of life. Yet doing nothing may ultimately present more of a threat to their livelihoods. "800 miles south from the turmoil unfolding in San Felipe lies the once thriving fishing village of CABO PULMO. David Castro's family worked these waters for decades until overfishing destroyed their livelihoods.
Nosotros pescamos tiburones, pescamos tortugas, todo tipo de especies de peces, hasta llegar al punto de convertir el arrecife en un desierto submarino. Que ir a salir a la mar, tratar de capturar peces para mantenernos. Y pues hay veces que regresaban sin un solo pez en la lancha, ¿no? Y sí era frustrante para mi familia.
In order to survive, the community decided to try something new: conservation. They approached the Mexican government to help them transform CABO PULMO into a marine protected area. Strict conservation rules were put in place and enforced by local residents to protect populations of fish and other sea life. Commercial fishing was banned, and scientists were invited in to monitor the reef.
CABO PULMO for me has a very special place in my heart. I feel very happy every time that I come here.
Marine biologist Professor OCTAVIO ABURTO has been studying CABO PULMO for over 20 years.
I believe this is one of the most important marine protected areas around the world. It's a marine park that was established in 1995, and since then, nobody has fished inside the park.
OCTAVIO hasn't been here for a year, and he's excited to see what's happened in that time.
David!
Today, OCTAVIO is going out to survey a reef.
Let's go!
CABO PULMO Marine Protected Area is only 27 square miles. It's tiny. But 22 years after the no fishing policy was introduced, it's having an effect on a far greater area.
The idea of a marine protected area is very simple. You give the ocean a rest and everything that was exploited will recover. Then when animals start growing and the abundance start increasing, all these animals and all these new babies will start going out from the area. It's an effect that is called the spillover effect.
What's happening in these waters is attracting global attention.
We have been monitoring these reefs for the last 10 years. The first time that I came, I didn't see anything. The reefs were empty. Every time that we do a transect here in CABO PULMO, we see more and more fish compared with other reefs.
OCTAVIO is here to measure the size of the fish and record species that are new to the reef.
When I put my regulator in my mouth and I jump in the water, everything changes for me. I forget about what is happening on land. the time in some way stopped.
"30 minutes into his dive, Octavio spots a group of surprise visitors. A school of bull sharks. For most people, this would be terrifying. But for Octavio, it's a sight he's been waiting for since the creation of CABO PULMO's Marine Protected Area over 20 years ago.
Incredible. Whole dive, 12 sharks with us. Incredible. Sharks are the most important species on the reef because they control the prey, they remove the sick animals, the old ones. So with sharks, the marine communities are more productive.
Currently, marine protected areas make up only 3.6% of the world's ocean, but a growing number of scientists are calling for 30% to be protected by 2030.
After 22 years of protection, the community, the marine community has rebounded amazingly. It's almost 500% in biomass. That means more fish and bigger fish, especially top predators.
CABO PULMO now has a thriving ecotourism and diving industry. The environmental rewards provided by the MPA to the local community have been valued at millions of dollars a year, far more than they ever made from fishing.
For me, the success of this marine protected area is because the community requested the national park. They have been involved in many activities, including enforcement. They are receiving the economic benefits of this protection. Now more and more people come to see the reefs, to see the sharks, and this money is basically increasing the human well-being of everyone that lives here in CABO PULMO.
Conservation has changed David's life forever.
Pues ahorita 22 años después, ¿no? Vemos los resultados. CABO PULMO ya está 100% recuperado, 100% saludable. Y la vida de la comunidad cambió, ¿no? Cambió para bien, porque ahora se vive más tranquilamente ya.
The scientific research taking place at CABO PULMO is providing hope that other destroyed marine habitats can recover.
I think that if the CABO PULMO community was able to recover this fantastic marine life, there should be no problem for other communities in other parts of the world to recover the oceans in the same way.
CABO PULMO's just a short flight from America. It can work as an eco-resort because it's accessible for tourists. But most coastal communities that rely on fishing are so remote they will never be able to make this kind of marine protected area a reality. The village of ANDAVADOAKA is on the remote southwestern coast of Madagascar. It's home to the Vezu people, who, like nearly 90% of the population here, are small-scale fishermen. More than 3 billion people depend on the ocean for their primary source of protein. Rusa is one of them. The ocean is ingrained in Rusa's culture. Octopuses thrive in these coastal waters. But as foreign demand for octopuses grew, fishing communities like Roos's were encouraged to increase their catch. It was unsustainable. Octopus stocks were soon in drastic decline.
Local fishing people here, they'd never foreseen that one day they would struggle to feed their children.
Dr. Garth CRIPPS works for the charity Blue Ventures. In 2006, it helped launch Madagascar's first locally managed marine area, a type of MPA.
Despite depending on the sea, the Vesu have previously had no rights to it. So the key thing that enabled them to survive was completely insecure. And it was open access. Anybody could come in here and fish.
A total fishing ban wasn't an option, so Blue Ventures offered an innovative plan. Smaller, temporary bans for a set number of months, acting like a crop rotation in coastal waters. This enables stocks to replenish themselves, while allowing the community to continue fishing sustainably. It's a big day for Roosa and the community. This is the first time they've been allowed to fish for octopuses in 2 months. The locally managed marine areas are patrolled by the villagers themselves, who impose strict rules.
La tau reserveza huriteu misi fukunulu tenze. La famisi mijubi enge famisi zimbo le bande. Favunze presida vasazi.
These types of MPAs have been such a success, they're being rolled out across the country.
Bakanasi hali, bakanasi mameng za andanza hurita.
Thanks to seasonal closures, which give octopuses extra time to grow, Roosa's catch has increased in size, and she now earns nearly 90% more at market.
Bakenge favili sitilu azareu kahie andova kulaze avili sakafu siramami cafe.
The octopuses will be taken to a processing plant to be frozen and shipped off to restaurants in Europe, Africa, and Asia. More than 65 locally managed marine areas have now sprung up on the island.
Tatu fana ngesiatsika velenzia ketui lena ngesiangaze tira taluha la yanteaku bumimpule unzai kua.
For now, these locally managed areas are replenishing coastal waters. But beyond the horizon, there's a far bigger threat over which the Vesu have no control.
It's subsidized foreign industrial fishing that is draining our seas of life. The capacity of a single industrial vessel is equivalent to what this fishing community catches in an entire year. We need to act drastically and urgently, otherwise we're facing immeasurable loss of life in our oceans.
While most damage from overfishing happens around the coast, in order to ensure the planet's biodiversity, scientists are also looking to protect large swathes of marine habitats, including those in the high seas. The ocean covers around 70% of the Earth's surface. The challenge is policing the most remote waters on the planet. The answer may lie in an unlikely location. A team in central England believes it has the solution to policing the high seas.
What we're looking at right now is a map of the world. All these little dots, these triangles that you see, represent hundreds of thousands of vessels whose tracking systems we can pick up with satellites. So we need to extract a positional information.
Bradley SOULE is a fishing analyst working for OCEANMIND, a not-for-profit organization harnessing the power of satellite technology to fight against illegal fishing.
Satellite surveillance is one of the most cost-effective ways to monitor remote marine protected areas and ensure that vessels operating in the area are following the rules.
Globally, there are more than 4 million fishing vessels. The biggest are fitted with tracking systems, known as AIS, or Automatic Identification System. This technology is a game changer for fishing enforcement.
Vessels change course and speed to set their fishing gear and to pull it out of the water, and these courses and speeds, when looked at over time, can give you a really strong sense of whether or not it was just transiting through the area or maybe what type of fishing activity may have been taking place.
This technology enables the team here to keep tabs on commercial ships, especially when they're passing through marine protected areas. OCEANMIND is currently working with governments from all over the world to help reduce the amount of illegally caught fish, valued at around $23 billion each year. Thailand is one of them.
We are in the process of helping the Thai government to see if there are any risk indicators of illegally caught fish entering supply chains inside Thailand.
Bangkok is one of the busiest tuna ports in the world. Natalie Tellwright is OCEANMIND's representative on the ground. She works alongside the Thai port authorities. Any foreign-flagged fishing vessel wanting to unload its catch is investigated using tracking data gathered by OCEANMIND.
So with the track analysis that OCEANMIND has done for one of the carrier vessels, we've highlighted that the vessel may have had slow speeds on the high seas. The red dots here indicate speeds below 5 knots, and this is an indicator of possible fishing activity.
Natalie has given these findings to the Thai port authorities. They have the power to inspect vessels, question the captain, and investigate logbooks.
During their investigation, if they found the catch was illegally caught, they wouldn't let the vessel offload, and that would prevent the illegal catch from entering the supply chain.
Some of these 200-ton vessels can carry their own weight in fish. If a ship's captain cannot prove the catch is legal, they won't be able to unload, making their haul worthless.
Morning.
We cross-check your analysis, and then we cross-check with the navigation logbook. And now we already allowed to offload that fish.
Okay, great. So what you're seeing now is this vessel unloading tuna because it's passed the inspections. These types of port state checks are reducing opportunities for illegally caught fish to be landed and enter the seafood supply chain, which is fantastic news for ocean conservation because it means that it's harder for illegally caught fish that's potentially caught in a marine protected area to be landed and sold in the market.
New technology is allowing the ocean to be monitored in a practical and affordable way, providing the first real hope of enforcing high-sea marine protected areas and fighting illegal fishing globally.
This type of work that we're doing, if that was multiplied across the largest ports in the world, the impact would be tremendous in terms of ocean conservation.
But technology alone won't save the ocean. Back in Mexico, marine biologist Professor OCTAVIO ABURTO is making his last dive of the day on the CABO PULMO reef. our ocean is facing its greatest ever challenge. Overfishing, pollution, and climate change are all threatening the health of a resource on which the whole world depends.
We are losing a lot of species, we are losing a lot of ecosystems, and many coastal communities also are losing their resources to survive. So we must act now if we want to recover and protect the oceans and help the people that depend on these resources.
Marine protected areas can come in many forms. But if they are to be effective, they must align the need for conservation with the needs of those who depend on the ocean for survival. In order to avoid disaster and to ensure a sustainable supply of fish for the future, far more of our ocean needs urgent protection.